Now then, so this isn't a how-to again. This is what did Wayne do over the weekend? And as you can see, we'll go to that camera. As you can see, I've got 4 boxes here. Now these boxes aren't just boxes; these are cameras, and these are called Lumen cameras. And this was the first one I got. This was the first one. My wife bought me this, so I'll just take that off. And the special part about these cameras, basically it's just a box. It's what's called a mousetrap camera. A box with a lens on it is called a mousetrap camera. And this is photographic paper. As you can see, these are the photos I took. And what you do is you get a piece of photographic paper, and you can do this in really subdued light or in a dark room, and you put it in, put that on there, and then you set it up somewhere to take a photo. And these exposures, these were 2 hours. Well, I think actually that was three hours was that one. That was 2 hours, but it was really sunny when I took that one. Now there's no processing, this is how these come out of the camera, but the thing is, and basically it works on, the light goes through there, and it goes onto the photographic paper, which is light sensitive, and it literally bends an image into the paper. Now if I leave these out in daylight, or in the light I've got here, they would just go completely blank. So they're not fixed, they're not processed in any set way at all. So I'll put these pictures up on the video if I can, and show you I've turned them round and made them into positives. So that's the first camera. So I'll just put those out the way. So the next camera I got was this one, and it came as a kit. So you made it up yourself, and I've decorated it up with all these little characters. And if you see, look, that's the shutter on it. So there's the lens. I'll take that off. It's just a piece of card. And inside, so I've even done the inside, is. Now the thing is, I put that paper in the wrong way. As you can see, it goes in like that and it bends. And what I did, I put it in that way. No, I didn't. I put it in that way, so it bent the wrong way, and that meant it's all out of focus if you look. So bit of a, but again, 2 hours exposure on that one. And this one's quite a cool one. This is a lot smaller lens if you look, and this is, as you can see, it says on there fisheye. Now what you're supposed to do is put, this is why there's a little piece of plastic in the back of that one. What you're supposed to do is you put the paper in wet, because there's a tiny little piece of developer in the emulsion of the paper. That's upside down. But I always use them dry, so I give them a lot longer exposure time. So let's have a look. That one was 2 hours, and that one was 3.5 hours. So show you those. Put that out the way. And this one, it says Lumen Sun. And the idea is that it's because it's a lot smaller hole, but there is a lens in there, look. You can see there's a tiny little lens in there, and that lens makes it a fisheye. So it's like that one, but smaller. But you have to give it loads more exposure time. So the exposure time on this one was 5.5 hours. But if you can see at the top there, it goes real dark. That's because it was it's got a magnet on the back, and I put it on a fence, and that's the top of the fence. So Now the reason I was playing with these is because it's International Pinhole Photography Day. So I'll go back to that camera. Yeah, so the reason I was playing with those is because it's International Pinhole Photography Day. But I just couldn't be bothered to get all the chemicals out and things, and the Lumen cameras technically are not pinhole cameras because they've all got a lens on them, but you don't need to do any processing. So then I thought, well, seeing as I'm doing, I might as well get my camera. So I got my camera, and if anybody's got an SLR camera, it usually comes with one of these. I'll take that off and I'll put that on there. I'll put that on there to protect that, put that out of the way. So this is what's called a body cap, but what I've done is I drilled a hole in the body cap. Let's go to this camera so you can see it. So I've drilled a hole in the body cap, and then I put a little piece of tin and I put a tiniest little hole in there, so a lot smaller than a pin, and then you put that on the camera and you have a digital pinhole camera. So I took a few photos of that, but unfortunately it started raining, so I'll go back to this camera. So unfortunately it started raining, so it kind of stopped play a little bit. So yeah, that's what I got up to over the weekend. Thanks for viewing, viewer.